One of the strongest assets for the Hamilton City School District is our excellent fine arts programs. So today we're going to be talking to the fine arts supervisor and a couple fine arts teachers. So welcome to you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's go down the list, if we could, down the row, if we will. Tell us who you are, your title, and then how many years, and sort of your work experience, if you will. Terry, we talked about you. You've been here a while.
Yes, my name's Terry McKee. I'm a product of Hamilton City Schools, and I have been a teacher for, this is completing my 35th year, and the last 3 years I have been fine arts director and supervising all of these wonderful things that happen in our schools.
And you were at Lincoln and Bridgeport,
I
correct?
taught at Lincoln for many, many years, and then Bridgeport, yes.
Very good. All right, Sarah?
Well, I'm Sarah Starks, and I'm the music teacher at Fairwood Elementary School, and this is my 16th year teaching, just finishing up. And I started in Vandalia, Ohio, in 2 years there, and then I came here to Madison, and I did all my years at Madison, and then I transferred to Fairwood when the new buildings opened.
And we
so-
talked before air that you were one of our first groundbreakings at Fairwood,
Yes.
and you had your little kids singing.
Yeah.
Actually, we were at the Garfield football stadium.
Yeah, I actually had my students performed that were going to be the first students in that building.
Right,
So,
yes.
yeah, that was exciting.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
And Terry, what about you?
I'm Terry Haynes-Tony. I'm a visual arts teacher at Ridgeway, and I've been in the district for 27 years. Started at North Baltimore, Ohio in 1975. So I think that kind of wraps it up.
That's it. All right, let's talk briefly, Terry. We'll talk about the fine arts at the high school because they're very strong, they're well known. So let's talk about, first off, I guess, Rhapsody in Blue, the show choir.
Yes, Rhapsody in Blue is one of our select groups, one of our premier groups that go to many competitions. Show choir competition is basically January through March, but they do more than that. They perform at community events and nursing homes and other things as well. They do a Christmas show, they do a spring show, and then their competition. And wherever they go for competitions, they receive a lot of praise, a lot of interest in the Hamilton show because they always have innovative and moving shows. This year they did a show about Frankenstein and his bride, a little twist on it, but you know they always bring tears to the audience's eyes because their show is always so moving, and they do well. They make finals on a regular basis, and they bring home trophies.
And the biggest thing, you're right, they get first or second place, what have you, rankings, but also they get the People's Choice Award.
Absolutely. They do the People's Choice Award in Fairfield, and then this year they received the Heart of Loveland Award, which is based on the character of the kids that are performing, which is completely, to me, it's the best part because that tells that the kids are representing us well, and they are learning a lot besides just the music from Mrs. Fox.
And also at the high school, and I know a lot of the students probably go from singing to maybe being in band or visual arts or whatever, but the high school band got an opportunity to go to Hawaii.
Yes, our high school band, for a few years, they had planned it, and it was a big trip, and it was really exciting because it was the 75th anniversary to commemorate the bombing of Pearl Harbor. So they were there, and they were able to see the USS Missouri and put a wreath in the water, and they were performing in the parade and at the USS Missouri, and they really got a good sense of history and our culture, and I think they learned to be appreciative of what our country is.
I know they did a lot of fundraising to make that happen, so
Absolutely.
kudos to Paul Dixon and the parents.
Yes.
Right, a
Yes.
lot of planning on that. Also the orchestra, jazz band, you talk about community performances. I know we usually have the orchestra or the jazz band at the community breakfast that the high school holds, so.
Right, our orchestra and our jazz band take turns at those breakfasts. Our orchestra this year went to play at a community dinner for the hungry, just totally voluntary. It was really great. A lot of good people. It was at the Presbyterian Church, and a lot of people come, and they were able to have top class entertainment. Our jazz band also has been playing in a lot of different community events, just recently at the dedication of Markham Park.
Right, yeah, River's Edge, that was neat.
Right.
And then also the middle schools, because we consider the Hamilton Freshman School part of the high school.
Yes.
But Wilson and Garfield, the middle schools, are very strong in their fine arts as
Oh
well.
yes, our middle schools are wonderful for our performing groups and our art groups. our middle school orchestras, our middle school band, our middle school choirs, always going to contests and doing well. We have high quality programs in all of them.
In fact, we're actually adding an orchestra class, I think, right? Because of the numbers.
Our 7th grade, well, we added it this past year. Our 7th grade orchestra was getting too big. And so now we have 2 sections of 7th grade at both of our middle schools and 1 section of 8th grade. Our band is also about the same size, but they've chosen to keep theirs together, but to have team teaching. So we'll have 2 teachers in the classroom all at one time, but they will stay together.
So I guess it's a good problem to have, that you need to have these extra sections.
It's a great problem, and hopefully we'll expand to have 3 or 4.
And let's talk about some individual students at the high school. I know Annie Smith and Alexis Combs, they get a great opportunity to showcase their artwork in New York City.
Absolutely. Our visual art program is strong. We just started an AP program, and as part of that AP program, these girls were winners at the art show, and the winners get to show their art in New York City, and who
Carnegie
knows what
Hall,
happens.
correct?
Carnegie Hall, yeah, can't get much better
I was
than
going to
that.
say, that's pretty neat. And then Leo Rodriguez, I believe he won some awards as well.
He won. He was a winner in the Ohio Governor's Art Show with his art, which was exciting too.
And you have 5 students, which typically every year you have several, but this year you have 5 students going to UC, Cincinnati's
Right, we have 5
program.
students going to continuing their art studies in Cincinnati, yes.
That's perfect. And again, all of this middle school and high school wouldn't be available unless we had strong elementary. So let's talk to you guys next if we could, because you guys are the feeder programs. You know, we have a very strong elementary, and we talk here, a lot of other surrounding districts don't offer the fine arts like we do.
Right, that's right. Most of people in Hamilton know that we have a fantastic program here for the arts, and there are schools in our area that don't offer music or art in the elementary schools, so we're very lucky.
And I think too, Terry, part of the beauty of that is we incorporate, it's not art or music, but it's part of all the other subjects. So it's not isolated subjects. You guys merge and marry all the subjects together, so I think that's nice.
Yeah, we worked this is our 2nd year we worked with Miami students in a pre-service program in arts integration. And as a matter of fact, this year we're proposing an OAEA arts integration talk. So we're real excited to push that to other teachers and how to get that accomplished in their districts as well.
Well, Sarah, tell us, because you sort of piloted or did a little bit this year, but tell us about what you guys are doing at Fairwood next year with all the subjects.
So I went to OMEA convention. Our district allows us to go to conferences, and so this is an opportunity that I got to see a group of teachers present about art, music, and PE education. They called it AMPed. And I brought it back to my teachers in my building, and we tried this year with an event, and we called it AMPed, and we did jump rope for a heart, and the students came through and experienced an idea or a topic or whatever you're trying to teach, but we did it as a group, and they experienced reading music with me and aerobics, and then they did jump roping with the PE teacher, and then they did heart art and kinesthetic art with our art teacher. So that was a great program for us, and we're going to continue it next year and work on cultural studies and travel through 4 different countries and teach our subject areas. So, still teaching music, art, and PE, and teaching rhythm and melody, but we're also going to do it through teaching culture. So that's going to be exciting. So it's something new for us.
I think you said you're starting with the United States.
We are starting with the United
four.
States, and where you can't go on a trip without starting from where you are. So that's why we decided on that. And the kids are going to make suitcases, and we're going to collect writing samples in our suitcases that we collect throughout the year, and they're going to make passports, and they'll stamp their passports as we go. But we're going to be focusing on India, Japan, and the United States, and Italy.
Oh, very good.
So
that sounds really
it's going to be exciting.
Neat.
It's going to be fun.
And as you said, you were able to go to a conference and learn about that, which is part of the beauty too, is sharing ideas and being able to collaborate and do that.
Yeah, and bringing those things back, it's an opportunity that we're very lucky to have here to be able to go and do OMEA, and we're very grateful when we're able to do that. So
And we talked about professional development or conferences, and I know, Terry, you do a lot of professional development as well, so explain a little bit about what you do.
On a regular basis, monthly, Cincinnati Art Museum has a program called Evening for Educators, and it is open to not just art teachers, but general ed teachers as well. And for about the past 4 years, I've presented at these monthly workshops, and it's usually they select the topics, and it's usually based on an exhibit they do. And I know the writing that we did here with the writing examples was from Kentucky Renaissance, where children looked at the gallery that we had. We didn't take them; we took them on a virtual tour, and then they selected their passion for something, took a photograph of it, we printed it out, and then coordinated with the language arts teachers to do their artist statements that explained their passion.
So that gives you an opportunity to be a teacher among teachers as well.
Correct.
So good for you. Also, you had a funny comment before. We talked about the elementary, middle school, and high school. And the art teacher at Wilson, I guess you were there observing or whatever, and a student said something funny. So explain what they said.
Yes, well, I have to read this because I don't want to misquote the student.
Because it captures, I think, what art is all about.
Right.
Fine arts.
This was overheard by a student at Wilson saying, and Mrs. Wally, who is the art teacher there, Miss Wally is actually a science and math teacher, not just language arts, history, and art. This pottery stuff is all science. Art is great, and it's all subject in one, but fun.
Yes. So I mean, and that is, I think, captures it because you know it's not an isolated subject. You all sort of mesh and merge in together.
Right.
So, Sarah, talk a little bit about the Fairwood student. The district is having a food truck.
Yes.
And they had a contest for students to draw diagrams and pictures of what our food truck wrap, the outside would look like. And the student from Fairwood won that.
Yeah, so we had a new student this year. Her name's Luaya, and she came to us, and I think her first day of class, she came in and she said, "Can I play the piano for you? Can I do that?" Wow, yeah, that's amazing. Let's see. So she is a student who we quickly found that was gifted in music and art, and she happens to be very gifted in all subject areas. But she did do the design for the new food truck, and she won that competition. She's also gone to District Honor Choir this year and participated in that, and was a really exciting event for her. And she's just done an amazing job. She performed the national anthem at the boys' varsity game and did an amazing job. So we're excited to have her in our district. Multi-talented student.
Because she got, I think, a $500
she did.
reward, and you're thinking, oh, where's she going to go shopping? But she said she wanted to buy some art supplies.
That's exactly what she wants to do.
So that's impressive.
Yes, she loves art and she loves music, and she wanted to use her money to buy things for her love. So that's wonderful.
And I think she's the youngest of many children. They're all very talented.
Yes, they are, and they're all here in Hamilton.
Yeah, so that's great.
Yeah.
And I know you guys work hard too. There's so many special programs throughout the course of the year. Grandparents' Day, Veterans Day. You guys really get involved in that. So share a little bit about like Veterans Day or Grandparents' Day, some of the fun stuff you guys do with that.
Again, kind of a STEAM project. My third graders
STEAM stands for?
STEAM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, Art. And Math.
Yes.
And the third graders we studied the Statue of Liberty. And the question that arose from the discussion is, if copper is brown, why is Statue of Liberty green? So then we kicked in the steam, and we had pennies set out, and they observed and drew what they witnessed for about a week, and learned why copper turns green. So that was one of our lessons in Veterans Day.
Yeah. And a lot of the veterans will come into the schools, and I think the kids enjoy seeing them, especially if they're in uniforms. But I think the veterans get probably a bigger charge seeing these young kids sing all these patriotic songs and waving the flag.
I did a Veterans Day program at Fairwood, and we invited all the veterans of our school community to come and join us. And my first graders performed on the Veterans Day program, and so did my show choir. But we had our veterans stay for a reception afterwards, and they enjoy it so much. We even had a veteran speaker, and then Mrs. Cooley, Senator Cooley's wife, came and she spoke there. So it's a really wonderful event for our community. So,
Terry, you talked about STEAM. Tell us about another project you're working on with that.
Fortunately, this year I received a grant from Learning Links that allowed me to buy a ton of STEAM stuff, and so I built these really cool Pendulum apparatus because the first graders were studying gravity and motion. So it was basically a PVC pipe thing that had a paper cup with a hole in it, and we made sure there was paper in it, and then they learned how they could make different shapes, different paintings. And we tied this in with Jackson Pollock, because Jackson Pollock, American Expressionist painter, used motion and gravity to do his paintings. And it was just so much fun. And they could tell you exactly what they used. It wasn't, we used a cup full of paint. We used motion and we used gravity. So that's I mean, we did in literature, with the STEAM project, we designed Goldilocks a new bed, and we created a new cage for Hansel and Gretel to trap the witch. So it was those kinds of things that this grant afforded us to be able to do.
And you mentioned grants, and I know Harry T. Wilkes, Hamilton Celebrates Education. We get a lot of grants support from him and other people, and I think the grants is just another way for art teachers, music teachers, drama teachers, all teachers really, to take advantage and maybe do something a little bit different and a little bit out of the regular classroom area.
Right. We've had several music and art teachers recipients of that grant, so we're really appreciative of that.
Yeah,
Love
very
it.
very lucky with that as well. Terry, we think it's important to start at the elementary level, so as they continue on to the middle school or high school, they can find, if they have a true passion or love of art or music or just an appreciation of it. So again, some of the students, they can sort of rise to the top and think, you know, this is really what I want to do.
Right, right. I think what we do in the elementary level is creating a foundation. It's giving them those basic skills, giving them an opportunity to explore many things, and at the same time developing a love and an appreciation for that art, whether it's visual art, whether it's music, whether it's a band instrument, a string instrument, singing, so they have an idea what they want to do in the future, and hopefully fine arts will be a part of their lives.
Right. And again, we have to commend our Board of Education because, you know, the lean years when districts are always cutting, we said, you know, a lot of school districts don't offer it at the elementary level. Our Board of Education members were very passionate about protecting the arts. So I'd have to say a nice shout out for them as well.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. They've fought for us. They have been very adamant that we will keep our arts, and it's a great thing. And a lot of parents call and tell me that, you know, they want to keep their children in our district because of the arts that we have.
And it complements the community too. I mean, we're fortunate to have the Fitness Center for Creative Arts, Pyramid Hill, you know, the art store. So I think it's a great partnership and collaboration with all the community arts that we have. River's Edge, you made reference to as well, that the schools and the city, we just complement each other, I think, in all the various programs and venues that we offer.
Right. Hamilton's a great place for the arts.
Right.
Music and visual art, everything, dance, we've got it.
Yeah.
Hamilton's the place to be.
Hey, that's the way to go. Carrie, tell us, you do something unusual with your first graders, sixth graders, and then working with Hamilton High Art
High
students.
school, yes. Megan Bell, the ceramic teacher at high school, and I were at a pottery workshop at Queen City Clay, and she kind of nudged me and she said, do you want to do something collaborative? So we have first graders, and it's fairly early in their art career, draw a picture, and then I laminate them and make sure I note them so that we can rematch them back. And then we send them over to Megan's class, and then the children have to interpret this to this. And then we coordinate with the Fit and Art Center. But before they get there, this year we did it a little bit differently. We had 125 first graders and 99 sixth graders in the cafeteria with their Chromebooks interviewing the first graders about their picture, about their sculpture, and writing a story.
So the sixth graders wrote the story about it.
Correct.
And
One
this
year we
it
had
was fish?
This year it was Go Fish. We've had the monsters and bugs. We were bugging out last year. And last year, the high school students wrote letters to the first grade artist about how they came up with their bug.
And then they get to meet them.
And then they
meet
really,
them all. Yeah. Oh, that's neat. It's a nice collaboration between them all.
It is. It's wonderful.
And I know you do a lot with empty bowls, so explain that. You sort of brought that to the community.
How it came about was back in 2010, I think it was, talking to the students because the gal from the environmental services asked if we would show our recycled sculptures to the Oxford empty bowls. And when I was explaining to the students why I had to keep their sculptures a little bit longer, one of the students says, "Why are we not doing this here?" So
Out of the mouths of babes.
yeah, I know. It's amazing. If you listen, you can really get some great ideas. So we made bowls, and we did 2 empty bowls in 2010. And then we've done one ever since. This is like our 8th year. And about 3 years ago, Carolyn Coley, Senator Coley's wife, was down in North Carolina, heard about empty bowls, so they put her in touch with Connie Malone, who does Oxford empty bowls, and myself. So now we have a Butler County consortium. So Hamilton City has their own empty bowls, and Butler and Middletown and Monroe and Westchester, and they each give back to their own community, but we were kind of on the ground roots of that. So
And you got grants so you can pay for the clay, so the students create
Correct.
these bowls, then they come in, usually it's a Saturday in November, I think, and for, I don't know, $5, $10, they get a bowl and they get a meal, and it's always to remind people that there's always someone with an empty bowl, and it
Correct.
feeds, no pun intended, but it feeds into shared harvest and the open door pantry.
Correct.
The proceeds
and
of it.
you know, it was started 26 years ago by a high school art teacher that was charged with finding a fundraiser to help the homeless and the hungry.
Yeah.
And
And you're right. It's, I give you credit because I think it started with you, and then other people. I know Butler County United Way is very much involved in various churches and whatever, but I think you lead the pack on that. And also rain barrels, because I know you've been doing
Rain
that
barrels,
for a while.
yes.
And
This
Fiona.
is our 5th year. And again, it came out, you know, I'm really in love with Fiona, and at lunch hour I was always watch the videos of Fiona, and it was up on my smart board. And I had a kindergartner come in, and of course I had 2 5th grade girls working on our rain barrel project because we auctioned those off for the zoo. And this kid said, "We should do something for Fiona." So I called John Nelson, the director of Save Local Waters. We were able to get another rain barrel donated by Butler Soil and Water. And collaboratively, a former teacher, Connie Mittermeier, my daughter, and myself painted this hippo rain barrel of Fiona, and they're going to have a special auction for her. They didn't auction her with the rest of the rain barrels.
Again, the proceeds go back to the Cincinnati Zoo.
The Fiona one will go directly to Fiona, but the other rain barrels that we auctioned off this year, which they both sold right away, goes to educational funding for water conservation, and it goes back into the schools.
Very good.
Yeah.
And Sarah, let's talk ukuleles. That must be the new
the
thing.
new thing.
This year.
Well, this year Terry called and said, "Here's some money," and that's always an exciting,
Right.
an exciting phone call to
Right.
get. And each elementary music teacher got the same amount of money, and I took a look at things that I was, thinking about and current trends. And this year, it came to my mind that we should do ukuleles. I mean, that's a current trend right now, and the kids love it. And I ordered 42 ukuleles this year, and I used them with 6th grade, and it was a hit. They loved it. We have 42 red ukuleles, and we learned how to play some Hawaiian music, and we discussed Hawaii and that culture and the instrument, and it's been a really exciting thing to do in our classes. So I know when they started trickling in, I'd get 2 or 3 of them at a time, and they were dying to get them out before we had enough.
Right.
So it was an exciting adventure. So I know that there are other schools.
I'd say other elementary schools have them
Yeah.
too. You target your 6th graders, so it's sort of a special thing to be,
Yeah.
top dog and get to use the ukuleles
Right.
when you're in
Well,
6th
our
grade.
students get pulled out to go to band or strings, and then the students that are in general music, they have to explore different areas of music as well. So playing an instrument is part of that. So it offers an opportunity for us to explore instruments and reading music and playing music, but through something that's completely unique to them.
And so do they do concerts and programs?
We didn't do a concert this year, but I think that definitely is on tap for next year
year.
because we did really well with it. So it was exploratory for this year. So,
Good for
but
you.
it was fantastic.
Yeah.
So
Good.
that was a really nice thing for us to be able to have.
Right. And well, obviously, we got 2 very strong fine arts teachers here, and we know they're K through 12 grades. Is it hard to find fine arts teachers now as people retire or move on?
I wouldn't say hard. I mean, they're out there, but a lot of times when we're looking for fine arts teachers, we're looking for somebody with a particular specialty. For instance, at the high school, perhaps looking for someone with a background in photography, or when we're talking music, you know, it may be someone who plays the cello to work with our orchestra, or a trumpet player for band. So, you know, I have a large pool to choose from, but we keep narrowing it down and, you know, checking off all the boxes, like, well, okay, this we can use. A few years ago, we hired Jacob Gibson, wonderful, wonderful band teacher, and he's a percussion specialist, which has helped our entire district with percussion immensely. So sometimes it's just finding that person with the right specialty takes a little bit more time.
When you talk about, you know, our music teachers, because a lot of them are also professional performers. I mean, they'll play in the orchestras for musicals and that kind of stuff. So
Right. Many of our music teachers are professional musicians, play for pit orchestras for musicals. They play in bands. They, you know, jazz clubs, the Hamilton Fairfield Symphony Orchestra. They're playing in that. They are writing music, arranging music, composing music. So they're professional musicians. Our art teachers are doing their art. Mrs. Tony doing her rain barrel on the side. Some are entering contests of their own. For instance, Mr. Paul Lowley is very active in a lot of things he's done, and I know it just came out in the newspaper that his billboard was approved and is going to be painted on the Clark's building of Joe Nuxall, so he's very excited about that. And
so
that's
last year,
cool.
did he do the chalk at Middletown or somewhere in Dayton?
He did.
Right,
He
that
did.
was something unusual as well.
And then he's also entered some contests for art teachers and has won first place, best of show. So, you know, and I know all of our art teachers have, you know, some have businesses on the side where they make and sell things at craft shows. Some do more painting, more for their own selves, or sometimes they sell their stuff too. So, yeah, we have a very, very talented staff.
Right, and again, it's not just in the schools, but they go on. I know one is a president-elect of the Ohio Music Educators Association, Rachel, and Julie Fraud has been a presenter, you know, again, doing professional development. So they mastered their craft, if they will, but they're also sharing it. And again, when they're out sharing it, they're representing the school district.
Right, that's absolutely true.
So very
and
good.
Our teachers like to share with each other as well. We had a professional day back in November, and it was like I gave them all candy because I said, you know, elementary art teachers get together and share. Elementary music teachers, and I walked in and they were all sitting on the floor and sharing a lesson that they would teach. And
Because you probably don't get to do that too often.
don't.
So it is
No,
probably
we're
like
in
giving them candy.
the elementary, they're
Wonderful.
in 8 different buildings. They never get a chance to
Right.
see each other.
Right.
So they were in heaven that day.
What works, what doesn't, what could work,
We
what
got
might
to see
not.
what other people were doing in
Right.
their classrooms, sharing things that they loved that maybe we weren't familiar with, and we were enjoying ourselves
Right.
and learning from each other. So
Kids in
it's
a
nice.
candy store.
Yeah,
That's for
exactly.
you guys. Well, we talked community art outreach, you know, going out doing professional development or things in the zoos, what have you. But the marching band, whenever there's a parade, they need the marching band, and they do such a great job. But they're always called on for parades and different community events.
Even in the summer.
Yes.
And now with school ending as soon as it does
yes.
in May, we have 2 summer parades, the Memorial Day Parade and then the 4th of July Parade. So our band students and band directors are on call all year long.
And the Drama Club, I know they performed at the Lane Library. They've gone to the Joe Nuxall Miracle League, so let's not forget drama in your plays, because in musicals, I mean, Jesus Christ Superstar, that was just a great musical.
It was a very difficult musical for high school students. I was a little skeptical myself, but they pulled it off with great flair. They were just absolutely wonderful. And I think the thing that you're bringing up is just so many volunteer opportunities that we do. You know, the rain barrels, which is earning money for a good cause. The empty bowls, raising funds for a good cause. The Joe Nuxall Miracle League, our drama club, just on their own going and performing at the library for kids, you know, to get them interested in a book. So many times these things, and a lot of it is teacher initiated, and sometimes we get a call And we do.
Yeah.
So it's
And the
great.
drum line, they started the run for the meters for Mozart.
Right, early in the morning, and they wake them all up with
Uh-huh.
with their drum cadences.
Right. Well, that's good though.
I think they've done that for the past 3 years, and I think it's a tradition that everybody likes.
Well, and you talk about photography because that's a neat program as well, I think, in a class. And the Hamilton Tree Board, because Hamilton is a Tree City USA, and they had a photography contest in the fall, with the beautiful colors of fall. And an 8th grade student at Garfield won her picture. So
Right.
I know your phone gets ringing all the time because people have these great ideas of poster contests and what have you, and so we try to help as much as we can. Shannon Fry at Garfield, her kids are always in the Ice Fest, and they always do. I think this year was Bowley Go, where no one goes before or something, and her students did some really neat soap carvings, and so they won awards. So
Well, in both of our middle schools, Lisa
Lisa
Wally
Wally.
takes
Yeah.
the Wilson students as well.
So I mean, they're we're always out there with a presence. Typically, anytime you need something, they know they call the Fine Arts Department, and you guys will try to help as much
We
as we
try.
can.
Sometimes we have to say no.
I know it's tough, but again, I think it's a great partnership between the city or community organizations and the school district, because we do so much together,
Absolutely, right.
and we're very fortunate that the community and the school districts, everyone appreciates and loves the fine arts that we offer, and our students, as you said, constantly go to various go on to college to be. You've hired some of our own. I
Oh,
mean,
yes.
you remember you seeing these names. Oh, I remember when they were just 10, but they want to come back and teach in our district.
I love it when we can hire our own people, products of our school.
Right. So, well, it sounds like there's a lot going on, and we appreciate you guys sharing it for us. We could go on and on, we know, but again, it just shows the compassion and the passion that you guys have for fine arts, and I think it's great that our students are well versed in it. It merges with other subjects, so they're not isolated, and I think that says a lot for our board members and our district's leadership to say, fine arts is a big part of what our district is. So we thank you guys for sharing all of that.
Thank you for having us and letting us share.
Sure. I'm Joni Kopis, and we'll see you next time.